Hey, is this thing on? What's up? What's up, everybody? If there's anybody in the chat, type if you can hear us. But we're gonna kick it right off as if it's working. Save. I'm here with you. You can hear me still, right?
Yeah, no, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm just checking your levels. Your levels, by the way, look beautiful, like
Ooh.
magnificent, may I say?
Well,
Yeah.
your levels to me sound smooth.
And just so anybody who might be curious, hey, take flight with the follow right off the top. I wonder who did that. I
Had to
wonder
get the
who did
clean
that.
animation a test drive, you know?
Yeah, you had to give it. Oh, and I got the. It's great because not only do we get a ping, my phone also goes off. It's like that
Even
episode
better.
of The Office where they have Wolf. Have you ever seen The Office?
Oh yeah, I love The
Okay.
Office.
Have you seen the episode where Ryan invents Wolf and everything
Yeah,
goes off when he gets an email? That's how it's gonna be from now on when we stream. If we get
every
a
follow.
follow every time, without every comment, dude, every single
Ooh,
like. But we'll get into that, ladies and gentlemen, for our audio experience because I didn't even tell Saban this. We're gonna have an audio
right.
experience along with this, Save. I don't know. Have you ever been on a Spotify podcast before?
Oh no, I do have a few SoundCloud songs, but Spotify playlist for a podcast? No, it hasn't been crossed off my bucket list yet.
All right. Well, we're gonna make a New Year's dream of my own come true because I'm gonna try to get us on some podcast sites. So yeah, we're gonna go for an audio visual experience extravaganza like no other, which brings us into the first show point. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Odd Man Out Studios podcast. Saban, is that going to be the name of the podcast?
Dude, I think I think we'll make a poll about it.
Mm.
But only we're gonna vote on that poll,
Yeah,
and then we'll go from there. Yeah.
yeah, I think
But
that's the
no.
fairest. Democracy is really going to shine when two people vote.
Yeah, no. Once we have like a 70-person staff team, the democracy will really start to show. But for now, yeah, it's just us two just,
Cool.
voting.
I like forgot we hit go live and I was like we didn't name the podcast yet. So I guess it's the Odd Man Out podcast. I'm your host, Danny, and I'm joined by my glorious co-host, Saban. Saban, officially, how are you doing today, my kind sir?
Officially, I'm doing pretty fantastic. Yeah, I'm having people move out, so a little more space, a little more yelling room personally. So yeah, no, I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Danny?
Yeah, I got yelling room. I don't know if that's the kind of podcast we're gonna have, but
Yeah,
in
but
case we
hypothetically.
hypothetically were ready for anything, no, my day was great. My day was spent. I did set up for this, and then I saw Avatar 2. No
Oh,
spoilers whatsoever because we don't do that here on the Odd
for
Man
sure.
Out podcast. Title pending. But yeah, Avatar 2, highly recommend it. It was phenomenal. Out of this world. Go watch it. Yeah, or
Yeah, what would you give it a 1 through 10? I also saw it, so, like, no spoilers, though. 1 through
Oh.
10.
Oh, you saw it. I'm
Yeah.
curious. I would give it like an 8.75. And this,
Ooh,
guys,
okay.
this is not at all what our podcast is going to be. I hate movie podcasts, but it was worth it. But I will give it an 8.75. I'm curious to
Nice.
see what you thought.
I'm gonna give it, a 7.4, 7.4.
Okay. Okay. So we're like,
Aesthetically
yeah,
beautiful, little too
obviously.
long, but beautiful film.
Dude, I give it the same things. But yeah, go see it. If you guys want to talk to
Not
us more about,
sponsored,
not
but
sponsored. James Cameron hit me up after the show. But yeah, go see it. And if you do see it, I want to know what you guys think in the comments somewhere on something because we'll probably post this. Because that gets us into the segue. Lumpy. Oh my gosh,
oh
Lumpy's
my
here. Yo,
gosh.
JB, what's up, Holmes? Yo, long time no see, dude. We got to get Jay on the freaking show.
Oh my
I
gosh,
still have Jay's
JB on the show.
I still have JB's titles on my computer. I was like, oh shoot, we still got them. Sweet. What's up, guys? I hope everything's going well. But yeah, so tell us what you guys thought of Avatar without spoiling it, using emojis only if your name is Lumpooey. Um, but yeah, guys, so this is the Odd Man Out podcast. We have no idea what it's about, but we do know that it is about talking content, talking personal brand, basically just your creator economy type stuff. We have reasons. I don't know, Sabe. Why? I guess the big question I would ask, on the internet, I can see the trolls. They're like, "Well, what makes you guys qualified? What are your qualifications, Just Saban? Why should I listen to you? Because my grandpa told me that if I put my credit card in the computer, it's not going to work." But yeah, Sabe. Why do we? I want to know because I didn't even ask you. Like, why are we doing this show?
Well, to simplify it a little TLDR of why we're doing this show, it's because we've accomplished so much together, as a duo, dare I say it in Fortnite terms so everybody gets it. Yeah, no, we've been working in content for years upon years. Our content experience combined is older than most children. So that's we'd be in middle school combining our content experience years. So, I mean, what else is there to say? We've been racking up millions upon millions of views. Isn't that right, Danny?
Yeah, and just because I know somebody's gonna ask, we can drop the numbers. This year alone, Saban and I collectively have netted 34 million views across all social
Well,
platforms. Odd flex, I know, but this is what the
good
show is,
flex.
guys. This is what the show is, and it's not to say that we got a lot of views. It's because we
Well,
did, and now we're gonna tell you, viewer and listener, how to freaking do that, right, Saban? I think that makes us qualified.
how to do it, best ways to do it, fastest ways to do it, and on top of that, in a fun and friendly format. I mean, what
Yeah.
else is there to ask for?
Yeah, friendly speech and debate because me and Saban have gone back and forth on several things before. So I know in future episodes, I haven't gotten to put it down yet, but I want to do one episode, Saban, where me and you list moments where we just completely hated what the other one did or said in our working experience.
Maybe
Because
that's episode 10, like an anniversary
the
episode.
anniversary episode is can we not split and divorce after this? I want the kids in the divorce. But yeah, guys, I'm pumped, man. And not only are we gonna talk about ourselves because that would be freaking boring. Um,
Yeah.
we actually I can't announce who, but we already have a guest tentatively lined up for the show. Saban and I are going to interview industry professionals. That's right, folks. I'm not talking to Joe Schmo Blows, growth guru. I'm looking at you, TikTok.
Gary V. We're talking people of that caliber, but not Gary
Yeah,
V
watch it, Gary.
specifically.
Yeah, knock off
Yeah,
Gary's. Knock off Gary's. Not the OG. We like the OG is
but
cool.
Gary B, people like him are gonna be on here.
Yeah, Gary. Yeah. So we're gonna stay tuned for that and more, folks, on the Odd Man Out podcast. Jesus, we are off to a great start. But yeah, so normally, guys, we will have a guest. I think that's my goal. Me and Saban haven't even talked schedule, but I think my goal is to get one guest on per week if possible. And if we have the time during that week, we'll just do another stream where we'll just, hey, if we have a guest, we will, and if not, it's just me and Sabe. How does that sound, Sabe?
I mean, that sounds perfect. And, if anybody in the audience happens to be a qualified content specialist themselves, if there's Mr. Beast, for instance, chilling out in our chat, send us a DM and we'd love to potentially have you on our podcast. I think it's a great opportunity to meet a lot of new people, get a lot of new ideas out there, and ultimately help everybody grow.
Dude, that was actually really well put. Yeah, if you are somebody who works in the industry, professionals, like I saw Jarrell up there. If you are an industry professional in any way, shape, or form, a designer, the editor, the owner, anybody, somebody who wants to sponsor this podcast, maybe, wink, wink, hit us up at oddmanoutstudio.com because we have our own domain, which
Oh
I
my
forgot.
gosh.
I forgot we had that. I
Everybody
didn't.
should hit up our domain. Our merch is on there. It's pretty fire. I'm pretty sure
Is it?
you got some of our stuff in the background, no? A little poster.
Oh yeah. We got old. That's V1 merch. That's V1
We're
merch
in V2 soon.
soon.
And
Really?
by
Oh,
by soon, I mean like 2023 pending,
At
but
the
soonish.
if our podcast survives the impending recession, we will get a brand overhaul. That's our deal. How about that, Save? If we survive,
And if we survive, we're also going to do a podcast episode on how we survived
how to survive a recession a second time, because we're
as a
in one
podcast.
as a podcast. But
That's the
before
key
we
part.
get before we get kicked off of Twitch, I think it's going great.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect pilot episode. I'm not gonna lie, this is going way better than I expected it to.
I could tell Saban was really nervous getting ready because like Saban, like me and Saban were like, yo, we got to start a podcast, and me and Saban, we're gonna get into how we met, but Saban and I have been working. I need to preface our podcast. I should have actually put this in the beginning. If we ever talk shit about each other, or I say something that may seem offhand, or like insulting, we're friends. Like we are tight. Me and Saban have worked together for like what 5 years now.
Yeah, since 2017,
Holy crap, dude.
right?
2017. So, like, I should have prefaced that, but, like, we say a lot of crap back and forth. So, A, I'm not offending him. Please, I've already been canceled once this week on Twitter.
I am offending him though.
B, he is offending me. Don't cancel him. I don't care. It's fine. Again, I don't stop canceling me. Jeez. um,
That's a whole other episode
See,
on
oh,
our
dude, how
podcast.
to get canceled on Twitter is absolutely an episode. I'm trying to book a guest for that one.
Oh my god.
But C, that gets into our origin. How we met is way more important than like our individual stories, I think, personally, Sabe. Um, but yeah, chat. So if any, that's what I was gonna say. If at any point we say something that doesn't make sense, ask questions because we're gonna use
Always do.
lingo. We're gonna use lingo. We're gonna say buzzwords because we want sponsors. And if I say CPMs enough times in this VOD, somebody will pay me. But if you don't know what a CPM is, then hit us up because that is what this podcast is about. Dude, I think we're great at this. I think we're
Dude,
phenomenally
that's cash per minute, right? How much money
cash
I be making?
money. Cash money. We're gonna do a whole episode on money. I got so many episode ideas in the books. But
The
we need
Google
to
Doc is 10 gigs
yeah.
long.
But before we could get there, we got to start with where we started, our humble beginnings. Saban,
Yes.
before I met you, what I think we should do is like flash shots of our individual careers
I love that. Yeah.
up until we first meet, right? So hit that, and then we'll like swap.
Oh, I go first?
Yeah, of course you go
Okay.
first.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
okay,
man.
let me set the scene.
Like
okay?
flash shot, TLDR, who is just Saban? Go.
This is about to get super deep, everyone. Okay. I was born a wee homeschooler in Pennsylvania. I lived on a farm, so okay, chat's already harassing me. It's whatever. Yeah, I'm a homeschooler, so I taught myself all the programs I know, which is why my editing style is so special. Take that as a pro or a con. But yeah, no, from there, I did homeschooling as a homeschooler does. I got to graduate early because I'm good at homeschooling or whatever, I guess. And then when I get to school, I meet a funny man, a kind man, a beanie wearing man. Danny.
Hey, that's me. That was
Love to
college.
know.
That's college,
Yeah,
right?
that was
Great.
college for me.
Okay,
And
cool.
what led up to you meeting
Okay.
me in college?
Yeah. So while Saban was on the farm milking cows, I was working for. How far back do I want to go? Jeez. Wait, where did you start? You started with high school?
Yeah, like middle school, high school.
Okay,
Yeah.
so middle school, high school, I took video production. That's how I learned how to edit so that I could tell Saban what to do. And then I didn't go to college for it. I went to college for acting, dropped out, started my own video production business, obviously.
As one
Worked,
does.
yeah, as one does. That made enough money to just do what I wanted for a little bit. And then JB following. Thank you for the follow, man.
Let's go, JB.
And then I got the opportunity while I was oh no, it wasn't an opportunity. I quit working for Amazon. Fuck you, Jeff Bezos. Um, yeah, got bored with it. Didn't want to
My
work there
God.
anymore. So I was like, I called my mom. I said, "Yo, I'm coming home." And then I got an email from a professor at this college in like Pennsylvania who was like, "Hey, we're starting an esports program. My daughter found your how to grow on Twitch video. She said you know how to grow on Twitch. Do you want to make content for our school?" And I was like, for these 3 games. And I was like, "Yeah, I know how to do that." Totally bold-faced lie. Never knew how to do that. But as we would come to learn, you can learn anything on the internet. So then I started working at the school that Saban was a student at. So I know it's real weird of a mixing of paths from like farm boy, schoolboy, video production nerd to like, okay, now we're friends. And then I think the earliest memory I have of you, Saban, is honestly, this is gonna sound terrible, chat. Again, Saban knows I love him dearly. I think I only remember Saban as the guy who like was just super like on point for this festival we did. Like the dude would just come in, drop off his card. Oh, my camera didn't even like that. Would just come in, drop off his SD card, and run out. It was the first like esports event I had ever run, and by run I mean I Googled how to run events. And then Saban never asked me a stupid ass question, so I really liked him. And then his professor came to me and was like, "Hey, he really liked doing this. Could you help him? Like, do you have anything to do?" And I was like, "Of course I do, because I have no freaking idea what I'm doing. So of course I'm gonna get somebody else who can learn how to do it." And thus I had an intern. Um, and I
Classic.
don't think we did too much. We did like a couple things. Uh,
Yeah, we did a few cool videos. Yeah.
but I wanna hear your end of it, Sib, because like I don't know your perspective because you were going through school at the time, so it was probably a very different experience from what I had. But I want to know what is your earliest memory because I have a terrible memory at meeting people, and you might have interacted with me for like a whole like half a year before that. I would honestly not know.
Oh man, I don't remember. I think this was a little before that first event. But I do remember, or at least my like first real vivid memory is you telling me how to do these player introduction videos that we did for
Mm,
all of the esports players. And I remember you showed me like the hardest thing to do, and you're like, the rest of this is like dumbass easy. You've got
yeah.
this. This is free. And I was like, awesome. That sounds so fun. And then you're like, "Thank you. This is gonna send me so much time. They're giving me too much shit to do," which was very, very valid, it turns out.
We had
But
no
yeah,
idea at the time that that was like what the rest of our lives would be.
that's esports right there. For anybody who's interested in the esports scene, esports is, like, constantly not knowing what you're doing, but having to say you know what you're doing, and then just figuring it out because that's the only option.
It's either that or you don't have a job.
Right? And honestly, like, I mean, to give us credit, like, if we had to figure something out, we figured that thing out
Yeah, man.
pretty
I
fast.
I forgot about the player highlight videos.
Yeah,
My
those were fun to
God.
make.
Okay, so we gotta set the context here because again, we're an audio visual experience, Saban. We gotta thank
Yes.
James Cameron of podcasts. Uh, dude, I don't know why. I don't know why I'm thinking about James Cameron. Oh,
'Cause
besides,
you just saw
I
Avatar.
just saw Avatar 2.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
that'll do it, that'll do it.
but we got to set the scene because we my job was a content director for an esports team. So like this school offered Saban, explain the program because you went there. So like explain the
Yeah.
scholarship and like what the program was, and then I'll tell you guys what I had to do for that program.
So we were one of the first schools that was offering like full-time scholarships to players to actually like go to school and play video games, and that's what they do. And they had to get piss poor GPAs to stay. So like these were not the brightest individuals. Not to like shit on all of them. Some of them were really great people, but most of them were like kind of degenerate gamers, as you expect most like high-ranked gamers to be. And yeah, no, it was interesting. The players were difficult to deal with, and they didn't really want to do any content ever. As far as I remember, isn't that right?
No, well, yeah. So before it sounds like crapping on talent because this is a great learning lesson that we got like freaking year one as greenhorns. Uh, Basically, when you're doing a production for an organization, here's like inside scoop, right? It's like your biggest hurdle, like right off the rip, is like talent. You like talent, you will never know what you're gonna get. Like straight up Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates. You're not gonna know which one you're gonna pull out. You can have the best talent who are absolute angels, which I'm sure Saban has a couple of them that he works with. Um and they're a dream, right?
Yeah, and I think something that a lot of these teams, and especially for colleges, they don't take into account is like these people you're taking straight from high school to play a video game for school. Like they're not content creators. Very rarely do they have any extent of like dealing with cameras and stuff like that. They're gamers, you know? So they're taking these people and putting them into a completely new environment, which is college in general, and then shoving cameras in their face all the time or attempting to shove cameras in their face all the time.
Trying, yeah, trying is the key. And like that's a I mean, dude, yeah, it's grassroots and it sounds like rudimentary. Hey, hire a content team and film players. But like Saban, like I forgot that whole aspect. Yeah, you're just sending high school kids who are already the only thing that they're good at is playing video games, which like again, not judging, but like you just play video games like really really well. Like you're going to lack in like you're probably not like the funniest of people, or like you probably have quirks like me. Like I'm a nerdy guy because I spend so much time doing production that like I'm not good at dinner conversations because I'm good at this. So as you could imagine, like, you know, it's the same thing for players. Like they're good at the game, but they've never had to take it like a job, you know? So when you're dealing with talent, like always just assume that like they've never done it before, and always assume like you're not going to have access to the players because you think it gets better, and it's not the players' fault. It's just like that's what they're taught, right? Like they're taught like, hey, you're the star, just take your time. You know, if you need like if you're stressed, if you're anxious, like just tell the content guys they can wait. Uh and that's like not their fault. That's just like their media training. But yeah, so but working with college kids is even worse because it's like they're not stars yet, but like they still get flaunted around like trophies. But me and Saban worked with them, and they were I liked the team personally. I think like all of them were like pretty chill. The role itself, basically I was doing what I have always done, and it's just like we start a YouTube channel, you start a Twitter, and you just start documenting all of the teams, right? So like think about your Overwatch League team, you know, you just document, right? You tweet, oh, we have a match on Saturday, you report on the matches. But like I don't know, Saban, how plugged into like how much like esports content you watched in college. Like I had not watched a lot. Did you watch like at that time, or are you just getting into it?
I had watched a lot of Call of Duty esports, but outside of and CS:GO, but outside of those two, I was still really new to like content with teams. You know, I watched like Cloud9 stuff, but besides that, it was and Phase. But Phase were also kind of like content bros, so it wasn't even really esports content at the time.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I just like so like Saban, you had more experience than me as the content director because like homie here had never freaking heard of esports besides Overwatch League. Like I was a freaking poser, dude. Like all I remember is like when I was working at Amazon, I went to Overwatch League season 1. That might be where we met, Sib.
Dude,
Was it
Overwatch League,
Pennsylvania? Did
it was
no,
it was
that
Major
was year
2.
2.
It was the
Sorry.
second one, yeah.
That was too early. Too early in the in the timeline, dude. We're gonna have like the Marvel Cinematic Universe of podcasts. It's
The
gonna
odd
have
man
like
out cinematic
yeah,
universe.
exactly. We're gonna have like the Infinity Gauntlet and shit. It's gonna be awesome. But yeah. So like I went to the Overwatch League. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then I saw kids running around with cameras. So like, I want to do that. And then I started doing it. But Saban, you knew more about like the teams, like Cloud9 and like esports orgs. So like I got hired to then manage 3 brands, and I had never freaking seen an org before. So like I was doing this dead ass like just off of like YouTubers I had seen. Like, I had no idea where to go, dude. Like, somebody mentioned Maryville, and I can say that because like I didn't work for them. They're awesome. If you guys like shout out, like they do pretty good
Maryville
content.
University. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
So like they had a program. They were one of the first ones that had a collegiate program. So like I would go over and watch what they were doing. I'm like, oh, okay, like this is, I guess, like I didn't understand like 80% of it, so we didn't do a lot of what Maryville did. But like player profiles, like that was a very similar aesthetic, right? Like they were like they took pride in their players. So like I just had assumed that that's what esports was. I'm like, oh, we got to take pride in our team. Like I got to do player profiles, which loops us back to me and Saban's first meeting, which I had I totally forgot. But I remember for our audio listeners, the visual was simple. It was like interview a player, and it was like, hey, my name is Danny, and I play this role for this team, and then it would freeze, right, Sabe? The screen would freeze, and then the player would kind of zoom out, and everything would lose color, and it would highlight and give their name as a lower third.
Yeah.
So
Those
I
were
had
fun
to,
videos.
yeah, I had to make like freaking 20 of these freaking things, right? Because there's 20 players. So I did like I did a few, and then I got the intern. I got Saban. And I taught Saban how to do it. And I don't know, like I dead ass Googled how to make that effect, and I did it 3 times, and then I taught Saban how to do it. So like that's how you learn how to do literally anything. Uh
Yeah.
Saban, what was that experience like for you? Like I don't know, man. Like was that, do you remember that process, or do you just remember doing the
Dude, yeah, of course I remember that.
was that so that was like the very first time I was like giving you a task.
Yeah, that was the first time I felt like I was, genuinely part of the content team and not just some, like, guinea pig thrown to do something that was, like, maybe generally gonna be used. So it was
Right.
really cool. It was really cool because, like, to put it in perspective, I was just a college student who had graduated from high school or was still, like, kinda technically in high school because it was dual enrollment, who's just, like, super into esports who wanted to work with the college team, and one of my professors is like, "Yo, we could hook you up with the dude who's doing that." And that dude happened to be Danny.
And that was me. Dude, that's so cool to like think about, that you were just like like I never thought about that perspective of like, oh, I didn't want to just be the guinea pig, like just use me one time a school year kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's like that was my entire experience, and that's unfortunately when my collegiate experience was not like the best because when you're there and when you weren't there, there were so many times where I like had ideas and I pitched them to you and I pitched them to other people. And it would always be like, yeah, it's a really cool idea, but then it would never go past that because like the upper management just didn't like care that much about doing anything super different, you know? So
Yeah.
it was a weird experience for sure. I felt like we did a lot of cool stuff though. Like we
We
were
yeah,
trying to keep up with Maryville.
you guys, I remember, so like I got fired. I'll go there cuz like I don't give a shit. I got fired for reasons that had nothing to do with the job, which
Yeah,
was
very weird
actually,
reasons.
yeah, which was actually fine because that's how I got into professional esports, was by getting fired. So like, guys, everything's an opportunity. But anywho, I remember distinctly like after getting fired from my first job ever, and a job that I like kind of really liked. I was like, "Oh, cool. This is like, I suck at this, but like I like doing this kind of stuff." I remember going back to stalk the channel because I was bitter. It was like watching an ex-girlfriend like move on without you. So I went to the channel. I'm like, I was so pissed, dude, because there was a video. There was a new video, and I was like, oh, these motherfuckers, like, dude, it's like watching your girl with another person. And I clicked on the video, and I like looked in the thing, and I was like, oh, Saban made this. Like somehow I made the connection that Saban had made it. And I'm like watching it, and I was like, well, I can't be fucking mad, dude. I can't be mad. Like I'm like, that's my boy. Like and you did a great job. It was like when you guys went to City Hall,
Yeah, we went to
and
visit the state capitol.
Yeah, dude, tell about what was the video about? Like, tell us what you
It
made.
was so weird, dude. Like the actual experience was so scuffed because we went to visit. For some reason, they felt like it was necessary for the esports team to visit our state capital, and meet with one of the senators to like take pictures and like shake his hand or whatever. Which again is just like what
Yeah.
I don't understand how this helps their education or helps your esports, but okay. So I was there just shooting pictures, and I'm just this weird kid. Like I'm just the fucking camera guy who's like oddly standing in the corner, like crouching down, taking photos of everything, and you just hear the like you see a flashing light occasionally, and it was so disrespectful, dude. Because I'll tell you, we get to the final, the boss room, as you want to say it, the senator's room, right? And he's getting a picture post up. And he asks them to bring in their professional camera guy. As I'm standing there with my camera, I'm like, the disrespect on this dude.
No way. They did
I,
that in front of you?
I was like, there's no way. And you know what? I stood right next to that dude and I took my photos anyway. It's like, I'm gonna pretend this didn't just happen.
There's
I'm
no
gonna
I would have dude, I would have went up I would have lost my job right there, dude.
I felt so terrible, but you know what? I got even closer to them. Like I was like, I don't have to worry about making these
Right.
guys uncomfortable. Because again, another cool thing is as the intern, because I was still in college, like I was friends with a decent amount of those guys outside
Right.
of it because we just went to school together. So like I could be weird and quirky with all the players, which ended up for some really good photos and just like video content. But it was weird. It was weird going to a state capital with an esports team for whatever reason and meeting with a senator. And then I made another video where we went to a baseball stadium. Why our entire esports team went to a baseball field to then throw the opening pitch, again, I don't know, but it was cool. And then I offered to make a ton more videos like that, and then they left me on red. And I was like, I guess I'm like not interning anymore.
I guess I'm not interning anymore. I did my Saban, you did your 2 videos and that was it. They didn't see. Do
Right?
you know where you went wrong? I know
What?
exactly where you went wrong. Do you want to take one guess? I'll give you 2 guesses where you went wrong.
I wasn't good enough.
No.
Shit. I was too ambitious.
No, dude, you didn't go viral.
Fuck, man. True, those
You
videos are
just
sitting
didn't
hard stuck at like 400, 300 views. So
you just didn't go viral, dude. And every time I heard, I was like, I don't even know what that means, dude. I had to Google that shit. I was like, what do you mean go viral? I was Googling dead ass, dude. My first year as a content director, I Googled how to go viral. Dude, dead ass. I'm not even ashamed, Saban, because like, dude, there was nothing to look at. Like, there was like, if you didn't know esports orgs, I had nothing else to base anything off of. Like, imagine your brain just like go, and you're like, all right, well, I've seen baseball once. Like, I saw baseball on TV once, so like, let me just copy what the fuck these guys did. We're an adult rated show now, Save, I guess.
oh man, did we just lose all of our ad revenue?
All of our ads go down. No, when we get monetized, then we'll watch it.
We're gonna have to add a bleep button.
I can
A
get a
built-in
bleep
one.
button. I can get a bleep button on this device that I'm not gonna say because I'm not gonna say it until, yeah. But
Smart.
we're not gonna be sponsored by them, chat. It's fine. It doesn't matter. We
Not
might be.
yet.
Not yet. But for our audio listeners, it doesn't matter because as long as our voices sound good, that's all that matters.
That's all that
Um,
matters, baby.
so saving the intern for 2 videos. They were great videos, by the way. I enjoyed them. I didn't get their purpose either because, like as you said, why is this esports team in the city capital? And but I knew the context because I, as the content director, had to sit in the meetings where they came up with that shit.
Which is absurd. I don't know how they thought those were good video ideas, and then they'd hear our legitimate content ideas and just be like, I don't know.
Yeah, it so a little I'm going to shine the light behind the veil for you because
Oh,
it's been 5 years and there's got to be some sort of like limit on it. But basically, when you're sitting in these meetings, it was like once a week, and you met with this. I'm not going to say names, but I will say very high up positions in the school, right? Like I'm not a faculty member. I'm literally staff. Like I'm like below like the freaking delivery guy. Like that's how low my permissions are. So you go like every single Monday, you'd wake up, you'd go to this dude's office and he'd power trip you for the first 17 minutes. Right? So like you'd go, you'd sit outside, you tell that you had to actually tell a secretary, "Hey, we're here for so and so." I'm like, "Dude, it's a college." So but like anywho, I had to ask a secretary like, "Hey, I'm here for my freaking meeting that I have every single time. Why am I asking you?" And then you go into this room and you have two chairs in the front for the people that he liked, and then there was my chair in the back in between them because I would just pull the chair into the middle. And then from there, it was usually like, how did they do over the weekend? And usually we lost until like the end. So it was like, well, they're like tied, right? Like for first, right? Like it was always like first and second. We had a rivalry.
Our
And
rivals were always better, unfortunately.
right. But like we had to tell this dude that the team didn't win. And I'm the content director, and my job was to say the team scored this in this game. And he didn't know what it meant. I just had to say if we won or lost, and then from there it was attack. That was like, okay, how are we going to spin this? And I was like, we don't work in the news, my man. There's no spinning of anything. I've already tweeted that we lost. And
Lord.
then so like so that was like status reporting. That was like analytics. Before I knew what I was doing, he was like, "What's the report?" And I was like, "What do I report?" So I would Google like, "What do you report for social media jobs?" And they would say like, "Oh, give them these numbers." So I'd be like, "Oh, well, we got these many followers, whatever shit that didn't matter, obviously." And then he'd be like, "Okay, well, here's what we're gonna do this week. We need to make a video for the governor." But you can't tell anybody about it. And I'm fucking telling people about it anyway because he doesn't even work there anymore. He was like, "Danny, can you stay for a minute?" I'm like, "I'm in the back row. It doesn't matter." And you're going to pull in and we got to make a video for some government officials. And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because I owe them a video." I was like, what kind of video do you need?" He's like, "We just need to make the city look great. And I need you to put the esports team in it somehow, but not too much. Like just a shot. Like don't put a computer, just put one shot of a singular headshot. But the rest of the video has to make the city look great." So like that's what
Uh,
my job was. For like dead ass like what was it? 8 months? Did I last a year? I don't think I
I think
lasted
you
a year.
almost lasted a year.
So like my job was to like report the stats if we won or lost. I had to spin it. And then I was making videos for like backroom bribes, maybe? I don't know, but I think I should go on a podcast about that. Uh yeah, dude, like I'm like, dude, like I was in the room where it happened, bro. But like as the intern, which was glorious. So like that's I hope that shines some light on you for like why you had to do weird shit that didn't make sense.
This also reminds me of one time where I was taken with the team, keep in mind, to like a government town hall meeting. But it was like in this super exclusive room because when my brother works in politics, and when I told my
Oh, I'm
brother
so
about it, he's
sorry.
like, "Yeah, honestly, I am too." And he's like, "Nobody's like, very few people are allowed to go in there." And I'm like, "Why the fuck are we here?" Like I'm in there taking pictures. I'm like getting close to all these like really high up politicians in our state, just like taking my little fucking down low shots, trying to take pictures of all the players who are just sitting there like, "I should be studying or, like,
I should
practicing
be.
my flip. Why am I watching this government meeting go down?" It was, like, the most insane shit, and then we just left, like, we were there for, like, 30 minutes just listening to government talk, and then when they shook some hands, and then I ended up taking a selfie with a high up government politician because that's kinda my thing, for
For
anybody who
ransom.
doesn't know. Yeah, no, I take selfies with politicians when I see them because I think it's funny, like, making that like you
Yeah,
know?
so yeah, no, it's like, oh, I knew that guy. I saw him one time.
But it's
So
weird.
that's
It's weird.
yeah,
Collegiate esports is a
collegiate esports is basically like if you took the NBA and you underpaid everybody by like 98% and then called yourself professional, uh that's collegiate esports. It's pretty much just do what the NBA does but with like 98% less of everything they have
yeah.
and go viral. That's it. That's collegiate esports.
It was a fun time. It was a good way to meet. You know, I feel like it really helped us bond because
Full circle.
because we had
Oh
such a
my
mutual
gosh.
hatred for how little we could do.
We have to interrupt our entire broadcast now to
We got
because
our first
Butters
bot.
wants to give us channels, viewers, followers, and chatbots, and the price is lower than any competitor. The quality is guaranteed to be the best. Auto on. Uh,
Dude, wait,
guys,
go
we're
to
literally
dogehype.com.
guys. We're a brand building podcast, and we already have offers knocking down the door to offer us promotion.
I mean, this just seems like a sign in of itself that you should hit up one of our various social medias for further consultation opportunities. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Shoot Odd Man out a DM if you want to work with us, Butters. Dude, this is awesome. I am vibing. Dude, that is our origin story
Yeah, that's a wild origin story. Meeting in collegiate esports
in
to
collegiate.
making a ton of content. We've made
Oh
a
my
lot of
gosh.
cool stuff, and we're gonna discuss that over the coming months for sure.
Yeah, and we're not even done today, by the way. This keeps going, just like
Uh,
Avatar 2, just keeps going. But
There's at least 6 more hours of the stream. Just you
dude,
wait.
there's 6 more hours of unedited footage. We're ready. But yeah, I mean, so from when we met to like the end of our run in college, collectively, we probably got like what would you say, like 5,000 views, maybe 10,000
Yeah,
on like
yeah,
everything, like general
including Twitter,
everything.
maybe 10, 15,000. Yeah,
Yeah, 10, 15,000 probably views cumulative because we're honest on our podcast and I don't lie about my fucking numbers.
it
Looking
was
at
a rough start.
yeah,
We'll admit
no,
it.
but it's like that's but 10,000 views, like, but we got a couple thousand followers like across all of them.
Yeah, I
But
mean, to
like
be fair, at like 2,000 followers, we were still one of the highest ranked
we
esports
were like
followers
top
in
three
collegiate.
esports. Yeah, we were top three collegiate esports teams with
Sheesh.
zero help, with zero assistance. Like use our own equipment for the most part. And oh, and did I mention that we ran twice a multi-day collegiate esports festival that was fully documented? Like we may in fact have started the documentary style content. I don't think it was us that we started it, but I would say we're some of the first to do that style of content in esports.
We definitely pioneered it for the collegiate scene, and
Yes, for the
I'll
collegiate
take that
scene.
to the grave.
Yep. So yeah, that's what I call a success in my book.
Yeah,
So a couple hundred, like a couple tens of thousands of views. We got probably like 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers maybe across everything
yeah,
together, but not together because we only worked on 3 or 4 things.
yeah. But those 3 or 4 things were still a large portion of that because it kind of just went to shit after.
Right. And then we failed upward.
Yes,
Uh
right.
so where have we been since, Saban? And I think this is like we were joking about our credentials earlier, but like this is really where our credentials come in because everything before this was just preamble, guys. Like does not demonstrate our current knowledge. Okay? All right,
Oh,
we do
sure.
better. We do better now. We do way better now. So much better, in fact, that we started a freaking podcast about it. So yeah. So after college, so I got fired. Saban, what happened to you?
Well, wow, that's brutal.
We'll do like spark notes. We'll bring them up to current day. Let's bring
For sure,
everybody to
for
current
sure.
day. What are we doing?
After a lot of time freelancing and a few internships during college, I just continued freelancing, honestly, and I kept freelancing upwards, I guess you could say. I'm now working for, or not working for, but freelancing consistently for a pretty good esports team, which is super fun. Little NDA, can't really talk too much about it, a little secret like that. But it's a great time getting to work on content in a more professional level. On top of that, I worked on a oh my god, that was a loud truck. I've worked on a ton of cool projects. And one of the bigger ones, I guess you could say, actually two of the bigger ones, were with my boy Danny here. One of them
Yeah.
including a little OS, and the other one a little more secretive. We'll keep that one on the DL, but that's where we got the majority of our success from.
Yeah. That's a good way. It goes to show that it's like kind of like everything all at once. Like there's like that book that people keep telling us about, but basically it's like this moment where you go from like zero to sorry. There's this moment where you go from like 0 to 1. Like we knew shit to like all of a sudden knowing a lot of stuff. Like actually knowing but it was over years, right? So like I got fired, Saban graduated, congrats. Uh
Thank you.
actually graduated. I dropped out of college, and then I got fired from this job. So not this job, but my collegiate gig. Um, so I went from there to professional esports. I was a director of content for the Atlanta Reign, which I am allowed to say, because that's even been more than 2 years now.
That's
That's
wild.
crazy, right? So I was the director of content for the. Oh, my camera went. I was the director of content for the Atlanta Reign Overwatch team, which was a lot of fun. That was like my dream job. That was like what I dreamed of doing. Did that. Moved along to Steel Series, which I can say as well. I was their producer of social content, which is my first producing gig, which is what I now do. So now I'm a producer for Offbeat, which I can also say because I'm not NDA'd. I work for an awesome media company. And that's where me and Saban also got a lot of our views, like we said. So like in those years in esports, I learned a lot of technique. And then after esports, when I got to work with Saban then and bring him in, that's when we were able to like really synergize. I think I don't know. Maybe I'm talking about out of my ass, but like being able to every single day like hit Saban and be like, "Hey, this is like the goal. How are we gonna get there?" Like we were able to learn so freaking fast.
Definitely. And just like throwing ourselves out there, I think that's a huge thing. And something that holds a lot of people back is that they don't just like go out there and attempt the experience because they're afraid of failing, which is obviously natural, but you got to kind of just like fail sometimes. I've failed in a ton of my content journeys, and I've also found success in a lot of them. More recently, more successes than failures because I took those losses and those failures as a way to improve my content and like what went wrong and why did it go wrong and how can the next time it not be that bad. And I think that's what a lot of people are afraid to do and give themselves that extra chance after it does go poorly sometimes because a lot of it is like luck in the end.
Yeah, no, dude, for sure. I mean, like, I just know that one, it is exactly like what you said. Like, just not doing anything is like the worst thing you can do. Like, I will give it to me and Saban. We have changed like the videos. Like, we have gone and made every type of video you can imagine. Like, we did the math. What were we? I was tracking analytics for like what? The last 3 months, and it was like something like 200 plus videos published. Like that's not even videos that we had in the can. Like we had published 200 some odd videos. So like there's take it from us, we're fucking failures, bro. Like that's a lot of videos, but it's not like some of those videos popped off. Like those
Yeah,
those 200 videos like again 34 million views this year because we just like didn't give a shit that like some videos bombed. Like like in our job, like every single day was like post, how did it do? Post, how did it do? Like that was every single day. I don't know, Saban. Like Saban was editing
yeah,
and I was giving Saban the notes and like, hey, this is what we need to like this is the goal. And it was great. Like it was interesting because we needed both of us to work on different things to make that happen,
yeah.
which I think a lot of teams miss. And that's something that like failure aside, like you still have to post, but being able to like solve the problems that we needed to solve. So like for publishing, it was like all about the titles. Like probably remembers, I had to like come up with the titles, like how to title it, when to title, like when to post it, what days were we posting at what time, like what thumbnail works the best. And that was just the publishing side. Like, Saban, what did you worry about on like for edits? Like, what were your focuses that like kept you up at night? Because like I had tons that keep me up at night.
I think my main worry was making sure that my output was enough. And like that's kind of weird to say because like I was always like super ahead on how much content I had out. But it was like finding a good balance of like making sure that I was ahead, but what I was producing felt still very entertaining and grasping. Like, I needed to make sure that I wasn't just putting out shit posts for every video, right? There needed to be some that, like, were higher effort and that were pushing our content to hopefully get that extra viral view, you know? But it was really hard because, like, on the one hand, it felt like some of the stuff I did change-wise felt really impactful, and then other times it's like making changes just felt like it hurt sometimes on some videos. It's very hard starting a new channel and then just like testing stuff out and taking it super personally every time.
Yeah. Dude, that was the thing for me, was taking it personal, because when you're putting out like 200 freaking videos, like every single one is going to get comments, like every single video got like, this is cringe, L ratio bozo. So like not only would your video bomb, like we get 20 views, 200 views, like whatever, not that those are bad numbers, but like for us we were like not up to par. uh Not only that, but like you would take it personally because you're like, shit, dude, I got 200 views on this video that I had just fought with Saban on notes over. And I was like, oh, Saban, make this edit and this will perform better. And then he would like push back and I'd be like, okay, like, no, because like I disagree. Like, and then we'd flip a coin or like whatever. We talk through it however we would talk through it. And then I'd be like, oh shit, well, I was wrong. And then like, dude, it's personal. It felt personal. But to put out that many videos, I feel like we had to kind of give that up pretty fast. Like,
Yeah.
I think we stopped taking it personally, like, I don't know, maybe I'm misspeaking, but like I stopped taking it personally. It had to have been like 40 videos in. By video 40, which must have been like week 2, like I stopped taking it personally because like I was burning out. But I don't know, like, did you ever stop taking it personally?
Oh man, it took me a long time to stop. I think what really tipped me over to stop taking it personally was just like I'm trying to figure out the best way to articulate it without sounding dumb, but it's just like not every video is going to do great, and that's something you just have to accept. You know, the algorithm is a very real thing, and sometimes it just doesn't like you. And maybe it's a whole lot of copium, but that's what I started doing as my way of being like, it's not that deep. The algo's just not a fan of me today. Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah,
Video's a
no.
banger.
I
YouTube just doesn't like me.
I think you need copium in this industry for sure. But I mean, like I've even seen it in your stuff, Sib. Like you're posting more on like take flight stuff. Like you're posting more on you told me you wanted to do more personal YouTube stuff because you got some time and you're like you like your own thing. Like I think you might not think you're not taking it personally, but I think like you're like at least having the confidence to like get it out there, which is like half the battle.
Yeah, I think this podcast is definitely going to push me to do it as well because, like, regardless if I want to do personal stuff, we're going to be doing this. It's like I might as well do some personal stuff, and I think it'll do the same for you as well, right? You're going to start posting more of your own personal stuff because this is a driving factor. This is what we're going to
Yeah.
be doing.
This is what we wanted to do. I mean, like
This
it
is
all
our
gets
life now, Danny.
this is our life saving. This is the pilot episode. How do you feel about your first ever I've done a couple podcast episodes, But how do you feel having done your first ever podcast episode?
Feels pretty good, honestly. I was expecting it to be a lot more awkward, but this has just been an hour of us vibing, honestly.
It's just shooting the shit, dude. It's
Yeah.
just shooting the shit with a microphone. But yeah, gang, this is our pilot, gang. So again, the format may change, the graphics may change. Don't get tied and married to anything. We're
Except
afraid of,
us, because 'cause we're
except for us.
staying,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Well, save it. We
Yeah.
gotta after this. We'll
Wait.
I mean, I gotta fire myself. But yeah, but gang, we just wanted to do, and I think me and Saban are really aligned on, like, we just want to do a podcast that was like helpful for people, like just in general. Like, there's so many people out there just struggling with like so much random stuff, like personal finances. The economy is bad. There's a recession. Like, people are losing jobs, but like other people are just struggling to like just post like a tweet. Like, they're mortified to just post a tweet. And there's nothing wrong with that. But me and Saban were like, hey, we've pressed tweet like millions of times. Why don't we help people get the courage to like press tweet a little bit more? Saban, do you want to add anything else to that?
We're all about empowering everybody. We're gonna try to hopefully figure out how to bring some great content to everybody else, I think, that's about helping you make great content yourselves. And I think between our knowledge and hopefully the people that we bring on here, we're gonna have some great stuff to showcase and hopefully a lot of good stuff to learn.
Hell yeah. Well, folks, with that, we're going to close out. What can you expect on the Odd Man Out podcast? Because the podcast people are going to want this in the first one we submit. You will find tips on how to build your personal brand. You will learn from industry experts who aren't just us about how to grow on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, other apps that probably don't exist yet that we're going to have to teach you how to use. Yeah, industry people to
Everything.
talk about that. Guys, we're going to talk about everything creator economy. That's the term we're going to use. Everything creator economy on the Odd Man Out podcast. I am here with my host at Just Saban on Twitter. Drop him a follow, Saban. It is a pleasure and an honor
As
to be able to
always.
start this podcast with you, my friend. Closing thoughts for the audience. You get the last word.
I just want to say, this is going to be a great podcast. I'm really thankful to be here. Shout out to my cats. Shout out to at Danny B Social. You should also drop him a follow. And yeah, let's get making content. Everybody put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to start. It's content season this coming year. Let's freaking go.
Let's freaking go. Peace.
See ya.